What's up guys, welcome back to the channel, and on today's video we're going to be talking about the marathon taper. Basically, how important it is, and if you don't do it right, you are seriously going to mess up your race. This video is also my weekly running and training vlog where the main purpose is for you to tell me about your week of running. If you did a race in the last week, I want to hear about that. I also want to hear about your training successes and your training setbacks. Go ahead and let me know about your week in the comments below. Okay, the main thing that I want to talk about the taper is that you have to trust your training. And by committing to the taper, by actually tapering correctly, you are showing that trust in the work that you have put in over the last 16, maybe 18, maybe 20 weeks. So think of it this way, because I know it's difficult. I know it's difficult to suddenly start winding down your training because the race is coming, especially when you've been putting in all that work for so long. But in this case, the work is doing less. If you have experience in the marathon, if you've run a marathon, if you've run several marathons, I want to know the amount of taper time that you like to take. And I think everyone's different here. Most of the stuff you'll read online is going to talk about a 2 or a 3 week taper, but it can definitely go up to a 4 week taper. So what do you like to do? Let me know. Okay, so first things first. You've put in that training and now you need to rest to let your body build up. And I know it can be hard. There's a reason that we call the behavior of runners tapering the taper crazies. You start second guessing yourself. You start getting these phantom pains that you think maybe you're injured. It can be a crazy situation, but the taper does work and it's backed up by research. Now there was a 2007 study from the University of Montreal that showed that an adequate taper can speed up runners by 5.6%. That's big, guys. I know a lot of you are spending $200, $250 on a pair of shoes that is going to get you 3 or 4% increase. So think of it this way. By doing less, by getting more time in the rest of your life, you are going to be potentially getting a bigger bump on that marathon time. And just to put this in a bit of context for you marathon runners out there, a 5.6% difference is the difference between a 3 hour and 20 minute marathon and a 3 hour and 31 minute marathon. If your goal is 320, probably going to be a bit disappointed if you ran a 331, all because you didn't take the appropriate time off, the appropriate reduction in volume. So even though you might not see that big of an improvement, you will see an improvement. I'll put my stamp on that, guys. It's guaranteed. Train right, you taper right, you're going to have a good race. Another important thing to think about while you're in your taper, you're still in your training, it's just the taper phase of your training. It's important to remember that extra training isn't going to help. Your body is not going to realize those training benefits in time for your race. So in reality, if you don't taper right, you're going to be going into your race overtrained. Now maybe not overtrained, like your body's all beat up, but not as fresh as you would be if you tapered correctly. And we've all heard the saying, it's better to be 10% undertrained than 1% overtrained. I wonder where that delineation is. I wonder if it's better to be 20% undertrained than 1% overtrained, 25%, 30%. So because this extra training isn't going to help, all you're going to be doing is shooting yourself in the foot, for lack of a better term. By running too hard and too much in your taper, you are going to be taking time away from your race. Well, actually, in effect, you're going to be adding time to your race. But you know what I'm saying. Now get this, if this is your first time hearing of the taper and the taper concept and winding down before your race, I'd actually be very surprised. But you may not know all the specifics that go into a taper. And the ideal taper comes from reducing volume, not reducing intensity. So let's say you are a runner, and let's say we'll pull a number out of the air. Let's say you are running 50 kilometers a week. You do your speed work on Tuesdays, you do a tempo run on Thursdays, and you do a long run on Saturday or Sunday. Right, it's pretty typical schedule. We're incorporating all those major parts of the run. Well, as you get into the taper, you're still going to be keeping those intervals and those tempo runs, but you're going to be reducing the volume because you're going to be reducing your long run. Those easy runs in the week, you're going to cut back on those. Even the number of intervals are going to be cut back, but you're still going to be as intense on those intervals as you were throughout your training cycle. And what that's doing is just letting your body repair the damage. You've been putting in all this training, you've been putting all this stress on your body, and that's what you're trying to heal during the taper. But you've got to keep it fresh, you've got to keep those legs turning over, and that's why we keep the speed. So at the end of the taper, I want you feeling fast, like your legs are turning over quickly, but you're still going to be fresh because you've reduced the volume. And it works. It works, guys. As I said, backed by science, can't argue with it. So if you're following a coach's direction, if you're following an online plan, it's likely you're going to see that gradual step down of volume as the taper weeks continue. But if for some reason you're just kind of winging it, you're seeing this video and you're just now realizing, probably should think about a taper. I want you to reduce your volume gradually. Don't do it all at once. And we can go back to the question I asked at the beginning for the people that have run a few marathons, which taper period they like the best, the 2 weeks, the 3 weeks, maybe even the 4 weeks. So you might be thinking, oh, my race is next week. I'm just not going to run anything this week. That way I'll have a good recovery time. Doesn't work like that, my friends. Got to slowly step it down. And the reason why is because, like I just stated, got to keep your body fresh. We want your body to repair itself, to recover. Let that stress that your body's been under slowly melt away, rather than just taking it away cold turkey. If you take the last week off before your marathon, you're not going to be feeling good come marathon day. You're going to be feeling sluggish. Your legs aren't going to have that fresh feeling that you're really hoping for on race morning. So I want you to slowly reduce your volume over the couple of weeks that is your taper. Maybe 20% the first week, 40% the second week, and maybe 50% the last week before the race. Now, one thing I should mention, and this is through my experience, and if you've experienced this, I want to hear about it in the comments, but during the taper, you're going to get kind of worried because your body isn't going to be feeling as fresh as you think it should with that reduction in volume. I know that when I go into a taper and I start taking down those long run miles, I think to myself, oh, I'm going to be feeling pretty good tomorrow. I'm going to be feeling pretty good over the next couple of days. And that good feeling isn't immediate. It takes time. And that's why we gradually step down the taper. Even the week before the race, you might be feeling like you've got heavy legs. But just remember, that's normal. I'm telling you, if you taper correctly, you are going to be feeling great on race morning. There's one last thing, I don't want you to stress it. If you don't do exactly what the plan says, just like in your training, it's really no big deal. So let's say you're out for a run and the plan calls for running 4 miles at an easy pace. Or let's say there's a roadblock and you end up running 7 miles at an easy pace. It's no big deal. Don't worry about it. Ultimately, the stress of worrying about it is going to do you more disservice than those extra 3 miles. Although marathon training has been boiled down to a science, there's also a lot of art involved. So relax, go with the flow, and enjoy your body getting stronger as you get ready for race day. Guys, I'm going to leave a link in the show notes below, and it's from a Podium Runner article. And in this article, they give a recommendation for a 4-week taper. So if you've got no idea where to start, if this is your first time hearing of tapering before a marathon, go ahead and check out that link. And with that, we're on to my training last week. Now, last week was a very good week of training. However, I am coming back from this injury. And if you guys have been following along on Strava, on Instagram, even on the YouTube shorts that I've been putting out throughout the week, you know that things have been tough. It's kind of tough coming back from injury. And I don't mean on the injured part of my body. My ankle has been fine. It's the fitness side of things. The fitness side of things just haven't been going right back to where they were. And of course, obviously, you guys are rolling your eyes right now. You know it's not immediately going to go back, but it's still a little disconcerting. Not worrying, because intellectually I know that I won't be running exactly the same as I was before my injury, but it's still leaving me with feelings like, can't I just get this fitness back? But even though it's been a bit more of a struggle than it was before my injury, I did start off the week with 7 miles easy, which was nice, you know. I do like to get that week started off on the right foot, just a nice easy jog, break in a nice sweat. And then Tuesday was a different story. Tuesday I was feeling a little fresher in the morning. And I thought to myself, Matt, you've been running easy now for about a week. Maybe it's time to turn over those legs. See if you can work in a little bit of speed. And I did. I ran 7.5 miles total, but I did include 6 2-minute pickups with a 1-minute recovery in between. Now, 2 minutes of running fast is not a lot of time, but I think it was a nice introduction for me to get back into turning my legs over quickly again. So hopefully in the next couple weeks, as I build back up to my pre-injury running and speed training, hopefully I can start to feel good and incorporate a lot more of it into my training. Wednesday was a lovely 8.3 miles at an easy pace, followed by Thursday. Thursday was 11.1 miles. Now this is my longest run of the week and it felt good. Now I should just point out that here in Florida, I know we're getting into fall, summer is over. It's still very hot here. It is still so hot that I'm having to stuff my shoes with newspaper after every run because they are soaked through with sweat. So that could also play a role into how I'm feeling when I'm running, right? I mean, let's be honest. Running in the heat and humidity, it's less than fun. Now, Friday was a little different because I got a bug in my ear and I wanted to get some vert, but the Florida kind of vert that I usually get. So I ran over to the mall, which is just a couple miles from my house, and I ran up and down the car park. Managed to knock out about 7.6 miles total, but that's about 5.5 to get there and back, and then a couple miles just up and down the car park. But still, good workout. Got to find the hills where you can. Saturday, I'm actually pleased with myself about this workout because I skipped my run. Now I went on the Peloton, but I didn't go for a run, and I knew that I shouldn't go for a run. I knew that because I'm coming back from injury, I should be taking a day off. But even the day before, I was thinking, nah, I'm just gonna run. And then my alarm went off, and I was tired and I just gave in to that alarm, and I'm really pleased that I took that day off. Because not that it made me feel better or fresher, but it made me feel better in my mind that I'm doing something to help my healing along by not running every day. And then I wrapped up the week on Sunday with 7.5 miles, nice and easy. Now it was really toasty on Sunday. I was absolutely soaked, but I think, looking at the weather, I think I've got some cool weather coming up in the next couple of days. Cool for me, cool for us who run in Florida. Probably pretty warm by any other standard. That brings my week's total to 49.06 miles, which is just a shade under 79 kilometers. And of course, I spent some time on the Peloton this week. I knocked out 146 miles, which is just a bit over 235 kilometers. So yeah, guys, you know the drill. Let me know how your week went. As always, my name's Matt. I post new running videos at least twice a week. Be kind, be happy, run well. I'll see you in a couple of days.